Georgia Congressman and physician Rich McCormick joins us now to talk more about this. And, sir, it's good to have you on. We're going to hear from the president here at any time. But I thought that the way Robert Hur explained Joe Biden's mental acuity made it pretty obvious this is not somebody that can be in power.
No, it's unfortunate, actually. I feel sorry for him in some ways, just from a humanistic standpoint. Looking at the guy, he looks confused everywhere he goes. We've been seeing it for years now. When he has that cognitive decline, the way he speaks, the way he references things, doesn't know where he's walking. He literally has to be escorted just about everywhere he goes. Even on the White House lawn, he goes to the wrong entries. You can see Secret Service trying to redirect him. That's why Jill's always by his side or somebody's actually walking with him. He doesn't know which way to come off the stage. He doesn't remember his stories. He misinterprets emotions. He can't walk well. This is a guy who's obviously on the backside of life and not in a good way. And this is a guy who's calling policy on foreign policy, immigration policy, domestic policy. It's pretty scary stuff, actually.
It's really scary. And what's, I think, the scariest is that when he came in, he was, he wasn't too sharp when he came in. But now it's been 3 years, and we're watching it, deteriorate. And again, I said this the other night. I don't like to pick on people for getting older and for losing a step. I mean, there's no joy in that, because we're all going to go through this. If we're lucky, we'll get to go through this, is the truth. But, when you have somebody that's running the country and running the country into the ground, more importantly, it really becomes an issue. And what I want to ask is the 25th Amendment, is that what this is for? Tell us about that.
Well, I'm not sure about that. Here's what I'm concerned about. First of all, his policies are bad no matter if he's got good cognitive ability or not. The people who are his handlers, his staff, Senator Schumer, they're all at fault for his policies. So no matter his mental state or not, he's in trouble in the way he's guiding this country. Now, quite frankly, if we replace him with another Democrat, they're going to take us down the same road anyways.
Sure.
Matter of fact, he's easier to defeat in this election than anybody else we could possibly go against. So the problem is not just his cognitive decline. It is his policies. Let's be clear. He's taking us the wrong direction. The people who guide him are taking us the wrong direction. But as a doctor, as an ER doctor, which I am, when you walk in a room, you can literally get a sense of somebody just by looking at them, look at their facial expressions, how they talk, what their abilities are. You don't need to be a doctor to see what has happened to him in the last 10 years. It is obvious to the entire American public. That's why they don't trust him. He can't sell anything that he's doing, and his policies are bad. We know this. On border, on crime, on debt, on education, on energy, all the elementary things we're arguing about, they're on the wrong side of history, and he is the worst salesman they could possibly have.
He certainly is. What do you expect? I'm sure you at least caught some of the executive summary of what we saw today from Robert Hur, which effectively outlined somebody that was extremely careless with classified documents and then managed to come out and scold former President Trump for his behavior with them. But it really outlined, when you're talking about somebody that can't remember within years when their clearly favorite son died. And, he tells those stories over and over again for political capital, as we talk about. Bo, he sells the Bo story very hard, and that's how he gains a lot of the sympathies of the media. To not be able to remember the year that Bo Biden died and to say 2013, was I still vice president in 2013? He was still vice president for 4 more years in 2013. That was the halfway point. I can't believe that we're in a situation where we have a president that has this problem.
He's not able to cognitively digest the things he needs to. As president, you're talking about some of the most complex issues. We're talking about AI right now, the development of AI, putting guardrails on it. You think a guy who can't even turn on his cell phone is going to be able to make serious decisions and guidelines about complex foreign policy and technology and economy, all those things that are really important to a president's understanding? And then you talk about this double standard, by the way, when you talk about the classified materials. This guy was a guy who was bragging on TV about literally doing something illegal, influencing somebody unless you give them, unless they do what you say they want you to do. I'm not going to give you $1 billion. That's right. Bragging about it. We don't even need those classified documents, which back that up, by the way. That's 1,000 times worse than anything they found with Trump. And yet they had this double standard. It's far beyond anything we worry about with his ability to process information. Yeah. This is just dishonest by the DOJ, and they don't have the same mental problems. They're just dishonest.
Yeah. No, that's so true. You know, I want to talk about just some of the, and we're going to try and hold you. I hope you have a little bit of time. We're going to try and hold you and chat about this until the president begins to speak, which was supposed to be a minute ago, so it will be any moment now. You know, for the second time in a week, we've seen Biden resurrecting another dead leader. This time he confused former German Chancellor Angela Merkel with Helmut Kohl. He did this evidently twice while he spoke to a crowd of donors in New York City last night about a story involving European leaders at a 2021 G7 summit. Helmut Kohl served from 82 to 98. He's been dead since 2017. And it comes right after he confused a French president who's been dead for 30 years. Biden said he spoke to Francois Mitterrand at the G7 summit in 2021. Mitterrand has been dead since 96, and he hasn't been the president of France since 1995. Is there anything that you know as a doctor? Why is it that, I mean, we're talking about people from a long time ago that he thinks are more recent. Is that some kind of issue with senility? Do you see that often?
Always. So your long-term memory is what sticks around. It's something that's ingrained. It becomes kind of a groove in your brain, kind of like a record that's scratched. Your short-term is kind of like your RAM, if you will. It goes away very quickly. Your ability to recall something that's more recently learned is the first thing to go when you become senile, when you become demented, if you will. All the things that he's showing us are lockstep with dementia and symptoms. That mental acuity decline, which is normal. Anybody who has older parents has seen that. In fact, I would even like to say a few people in Congress show me the same kind of cognitive decline. Yeah. And it's common in medicine. You walk into a room and you see these people who can't remember what they did yesterday, or even if they had lunch.
Yeah. That's sad. That honestly is sad.